You have an important choice to make, perhaps the most important choice you will ever make within your lifetime. Within your lifetime, you get to choose how you will exist and operate in relation to a society of people that are around you. And that is a choice between citizenship and sovereignty. You can choose to be a citizen where you accept a diminished status of being a corporate legal entity that is under the authoritative control of a state, or you can choose to be a sovereign where you assert your natural and inherent freedoms and rights as a living man or woman with absolute authority and control over your own life and estate. And it's one or the other. You cannot do both at the same time. It's one or the other. And since you are already registered as a citizen, for you to become a sovereign, you would need to make a personal and lawful transformation to assert your sovereignty. And that's what we shall clarify in this video presentation: how to assert your sovereignty. Greetings and welcome. My name is Russell Paul Arthur. I am the creator of Grace Sovereignty Academy. And in this video presentation, I will be sharing with you some important facts and details about how you can assert your sovereignty, how you can reclaim and regain your natural and inherent freedoms and rights as a sovereign man or woman, where you have chosen to self-determine, self-direct and self-govern your own life, free and independent from any other authority in this world. Free and independent from any crown, nation state or government. And it must be first said, when you assert your sovereignty and reinstate your freedoms and rights in the context of living within a society of people, you are not performing an act of defiance, resistance, aggression or belligerence. You do not turn against or go up against anything or anyone within society, as this will be treated by those who are responsible for public safety and order as a threat to national security. If you do anything that threatens to inflict harm, that threatens public safety and order, your life, against your will, shall be detained, cautioned and restricted by the law and enforcement that is established to disable all perceived threats to the general public. For you to assert your sovereignty within a world that has been structured with law and enforcement, within a world that operates from a hierarchical system of top-down control, principles that you must adhere to: sovereign law, sovereign protection, and sovereign honor, where you as a sovereign man or woman operate within the parameters of law, protect your life from injustice, and where you honor all life as you conduct the affairs of your life within the world around you. And right now I will speak to those three different principles. We begin with sovereign law, where you as a sovereign can create your own laws, create your own venue and jurisdiction in which to own, hold and operate your own life and estate. Venue means who decides the law. Jurisdiction means what the law is. So when you achieve the status and standing of sovereignty, you are the one who decides what the law is for your life and estate. This means you do not exist and operate in any other venue and jurisdiction of any nation state in this world. This means you are not answerable to a court, judge or jury, because you as a sovereign are the court, judge and jury over the matters of your own life. And being your own court, judge and jury, as you can imagine, is not something that happens overnight. You just can't become your own sovereign law just like that. Becoming your own sovereign law is a lawful procedure and process where you must undergo a transformation from citizenship to sovereignty. Right now, you are currently registered as a citizen, where you have volunteered by registration to operate as a corporate legal entity within the venue and jurisdiction of your nation state, where you have given the state permission to decide upon and exercise law to rule over your life. This means in order for you to become sovereign, you must unwind from the corporate legal bondage of citizenship. You must rescind and revoke all registrations, contracts, trusts and bonds that you currently have with the state that bind you to the laws of the state. As part of this transformation, you must study and understand law in order for you to know how to navigate through this world when it comes to operating your life and estate within different nations. It is only when you know law that you are competent enough to operate within the parameters of law. Can you protect your sovereign freedoms and rights from any authority that attempts to override, diminish or remove those freedoms and rights? Once you truly understand how law works in context of the society around you, how law is all about who has the venue and jurisdiction, who has the authority to decide over the matters of your life, only then can you create and establish your own law form within your own venue and jurisdiction, so that you, as a sovereign, can preside over the lawful matters of your own life, where you are the court, judge and jury, where you have earned the position and privilege of operating within your own sovereign law. And this ties into the second important principle of sovereignty, sovereign protection. Even when you achieve sovereignty and become your own sovereign law, you must still interact with a society. You must still engage with the state in order to live your life. Even though you are free and independent from the society around you, the society around you has many different authorities with their own venues and jurisdictions, with their own laws and procedures. The moment you interact with and form a contract with any other authority in this world, you as a sovereign shall become bonded, responsible and liable for the terms of that contract. For example, within society, you must travel, right? So whenever you travel using a commercial airline, train, car or even a bus service, the moment you register a vehicle, gain a license or purchase a ticket and step onto that vehicle, you are forming a contract with a service provider or the state, where you must adhere to the terms set forth by that provider or the state. Here is another example. If you travel to a different country, you do so with a visa that has been granted by the ruling authority of that country, where you gain entry into that country under the terms of a visa that binds your life to the legislated statutes and codes of that country, whilst you're on holiday in that country. This means when you do something as simple as travel from one place to the next, you are forming some type of contract and agreement with a service provider and the state, where you have agreed to be responsible and liable for the terms, rules and regulations set forth by the provider and state. So this begs the question, how can we retain our freedom and independence where we must form contracts with service providers and the state? How do we protect our sovereign status when we must contract with public services in order to facilitate our life? How can we carry on with our life without being liable for any unjust rules and regulations that violates or diminishes our freedoms and rights? How can we remain sovereign as the court, judge and jury of our own life, where no other authority can ever attach a claim or case against our life? Here is what you need to know. In the public domain of any nation state in this world, you can only access public services such as banking, travel, schooling, medical, visa, etc. when you are a registered citizen of a state, when you operate as a corporate legal entity known as the citizen. And so when you transition from citizenship to sovereignty, you must sever and separate your actual life as a living man or woman from the corporate legal entity known as the citizen. You can then claim and take control of the citizen, take control of that corporate legal entity as an equitable interest that actually belongs to you as a sovereign man or woman, where you secure the interests of the citizen within a private trust arrangement, where you as a sovereign man or woman can become the attorney in fact with the absolute authority and powers over the citizen, where you can utilize the citizen to gain access to public services without bonding your actual life as a sovereign man or woman to any liabilities within the public domain, thus protecting your freedom and independence from any other authorities or law enforcement in this world. And this is where sovereign honour comes into play. As a sovereign, you operate with your own sovereign law as your own court, judge and jury, with immunity to all other authorities. However, you are not above the law. You undergo a transformation to grow into the stature and competence of a sovereign man or woman who is equipped with the knowledge, skills and procedures to operate in this world within your own law, protection and honour. And here is the good news. Inside our Grace Sovereignty Academy, we can teach you, guide you and support you on how to assert your sovereignty so that you can protect your inherent freedoms and rights, so you can protect the value of your life and estate, so you can navigate through society without being unencumbered or punished by unjust, immoral, nonsensical or corrupt laws. When you join our academy, you also become a private member of our Grace Private Society. Grace Private Society is a sovereign body of sovereign men and women who cooperate for mutual benefit and support. We have formed a private society that has created the sanctitude and protection of our own sovereign venue and jurisdiction, private court and judiciary, that is independent from any other nation, state or government in this world, where not only can you become a sovereign within your own sovereign law, protection and honour, but you can also become part of a sovereign society that upholds and protects your sovereignty. That leads me to say, if you are curious to learn more about what we are doing inside Grace Sovereignty Academy, then I extend to you an invitation to reach out and get connected. Come and see what we are doing. And in the meantime, I wish you and yours the very best. Take care for now.